The Leak Delta tuner, obviously part of the same range as the Delta amplifier, was based on the previous Stereofetic tuner. The Stereofetic tuner was highly desirable. It sounded very good and suitably serviced. They still stack up well today. Anyway, the Stereofetic tuner, as I said, very nice, highly desirable, but it didn't have an AM section. Leak introduced AM section into this model, but ironically it wasn't sought after. It didn't sound great, the reception wasn't particularly good, so people bought these purely for the FM section, not the AM section. The features on the front are typical of the period, vintage features I'd call them. You have mute, AFC, monolock. The Quasi Stereo is interesting. So what is Quasi Stereo? It's when you have a mono input and you want to produce two different outputs. You take that mono input and you introduce a disparity in the signal, and therefore produce two slightly different outputs. This can be done in a number of ways, from a simple reverb effect to using comb filters. However you get this disparity, the idea is that you'll have a slight delay between the two signals, and that's meant to introduce a widening effect in the signal. Therefore the two outputs you have are mimicking a stereo effect. So in short, Quasi Stereo takes a mono input signal and produces a pseudo stereo two-channel output. So there you go, two vintage hi-fi units with easily accommodated weaknesses and significant strengths that stack up well today. Okay, demo next. For the demo I'll create a separate video. YouTube habitually notices my demos, which is why I've got into the habit of having two parts. The first part is a presentation of the unit, which seems to be unnoticed by YouTube. The second part is the demo, and it keeps pointing out copyrighted material. Hence why there's two parts to most of these presentations.